Welcome back to the Costa Blanca, Spain, or welcome to if you're the first time viewer on my channel, welcome to the Costa Blanca, Spain. I'm Brian with a Y, Brian El Tornero de Madeira, otherwise known as Brian with a Y to my friends on YouTube. Today's project is something I turned a few days ago. It's a variation on a bowl. It's actually a bucket. The old Victorian style would have had wooden buckets, and this is making something along those lines to look fairly authentic, made out of Spanish oak, which is known over here as roble, so you get a Spanish lesson as well. I think it's roble, not encina. Roble tends to be a little bit more like English oak and a little softer than encina, but let's take it from there and see how we go. Firstly, I mark out the top end, just roughly with a pair of compasses, just to give myself an idea of how it's going to fit on this piece of wood. It's marked, and then a mark for a spur drive. Well, not a spur drive, a 4-blade drive, which give it a good marking. Then on the second end, or the bottom end of the bowl, slightly smaller one. Just to give myself a rough idea of how it's going to fit onto that piece of wood. And then I'll mark that with the centre.
Just need the light.
I'll be mounting this with the large end into the headstock to begin with. I will probably remove off camera, I'll remove some of this bark because that's only going to get in the way, and put a tenon on the small end. Then after that we can hold the piece around that way to hollow out the inside. But we'll take it as it comes, and the next stage anyway is to remove some of this bark, make it load it to the machine, to the lathe, and start to machine it. Now we have it with all the bark removed, mounted between centres, drive centre in the end here, revolving centre in the end there, and rounded about 1500 RPM. Just checked it and it's running quite smoothly, it's not too much vibration. Going to be a little bit of interrupted cuts here because we've got to take it down to round, and once we've got it to round we need to produce a taper with the smaller end at the tailstock end. Using a spindle roughing gouge we'll take down the diameter until we've got it somewhere near round. Useful tip if you're going to just a parallel round piece, then line your tool rest up with the bedways, which obviously are in line with your centre line of the machine. If you're doing a taper, as we are, because we're making a bucket, set your tool rest at approximately the sort of angle you want to make the sides of the bucket. So just a little bit less than that I think with this. push it about right in the first place. Check your clearance and carry on. A little more to take off here and here. There's the hole. I think we'll imagine that happened after we'd finished making the bucket. That's got it to round. In the taper that we want, I'll put a tenon on the bottom end there. That will come off when we finish the job. It's quite an attractive hole, that I think fits the nursery line. Eliza, there's a hole in my bucket. You may notice that this is rather long compared with the diameter. The reason for that is because I want to leave an additional amount on the top here so that we can, it'll be explained by the end of the video, but the actual bucket length will be there. The way that I'm going to do a different type of handle to the one that I made the other day. The other day I had holes with rope in it for rope handles. This one I want to leave a little bit at the top, which would one time would have been one of the planks on either side, and a hole drilled for a metal handle. So it'll all be self-explained later on. Now we need to put the effect of the steel rings that would have held all the pieces of the wood together. So I'll mark that with a pencil, and then we'll take it out with a skew chisel and a ball gouge. Right, next is to give the effect of rusted steel, I friction burn the rings. So you need a piece of wood that is either the same hardness or slightly harder than this. So I've got a piece that I cut off of this, so I'm going to try that. Move the tool rest out of the way, and then with it running at a fairly high speed, just rub the wood against the bands. There, as you can see, it's an interrupted cut. It looks more like a rusty metal band than it does wood. So now we need to finish off the sections in between. Just going to give that a little extra bit of burning on there. It's I think the sandpaper's rubbed some of the burning off. That's it, that's that end finished. I'm going to take it off now, get rid of this knob off the end, and then hold it on in the chuck on the tenon, and we'll start to do the hollowing out the inside. Right, firstly we need to remove this piece on the end, and then we can start doing the hollowing. because what I want to do now is to mark off 2 lugs on the side and cut away this with a saw, so it leaves 2 registers, or 2 what would have been planks that the handle can fix to. This with a bit of wax, a bit of sanding sealer, and then some wax, and then cut out the pieces on the sides. Now I have to make a bung of some sort to slide this onto, to be able to take the tenon off the bottom. So it's an old piece of, I don't know, pine I think. It's already got a tenon on there, so that saves me doing anything with that. Just load that into the chuck. It needs to come down below the size of the inside there because I don't want to break off the lugs. Okay, it looks like the battery died when I was just going to finish making the jam chuck and turning off the base. So I've done all that without the camera on. Now we're back to, that's what it finished up looking. It needs this just sanding off just a bit, just to finish that off. And I've tidied up, I inadvertently have cut the 2 lugs slightly off centre line. Being as it was in the chuck, it wasn't so easy to, I should have taken the chuck off, stood it down there and measured it up that way. I would have got a better halfway mark. But anyway, this is probably all adds to the authenticity of it. The same as the bit that's broken away. All looks pretty good anyway. So what I'm going to do now is sand off the bottom of the thing, clean that up, and just tidy up the edges where the saw cuts were, and where I've trimmed it up and tidied it up a bit better. But it's only a bit of 80 grit, but it's taken off the roughness off of there. I'll put a bit of sanding sealer on there just to hold the grain in, stop the grain standing up too much, and then put a bit of wax on it just to finish it off. That's that. Now I'll just tidy up the top rim here where I had the saw cut. It's a little bit untidy in places, and it'll probably do well just to sand it off there. Here we have the little handle. It'll go on the wire that makes the hoop handle. I'll probably make it plenty long enough and then trim it down as I need to, because I won't be able to put this on once I've bent the wire. Right, we need enough to turn it up at the end, and then enough to go through the upright of the bucket. Yeah, I think we have it there. Could have done with making that just a little bit longer perhaps. Still rotates on there. Squeeze those up a bit more and try and get a bit slightly better shape to the handle. There, I think that's the finished project. Right, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed what you saw. If you haven't already subscribed, I really would like anybody to subscribe. If not, just put a like, would be very welcome. And see you on the next video. Thank you.